Shem Hamaya Ki Jai, Vishveshvari Mata Ki Jai. In our last chapter, we read about the different offenses that could be made to the surface of the earth and the punishments therein. We'll go on with chapter 11. The Devarsi Narada said, O thou, the foremost of the knower of the Vedas, I have heard the excellent narration of Mother Earth. Now I want to hear the anecdote of Ganga. I heard ere long that Ganga, of the nature of Vishnu and appearing from the feet of Vishnu, the Ishvari of the Devas, appeared, due to the curse of Bharata. Why has she come to Bharata, in which yuga, and asked, by whom did she come to Bharata? O Lord, now describe to me this auspicious anecdote, capable to destroy sins and yield religious merits. Narayani said, O child, in ancient days there was born a prosperous emperor, king of kings in the solar dynasty. He had two beautiful wives. One was named Vaidari, and the other was named Savaya. Savaya delivered a very lovely son. His name was Asmanja. On the other hand, the queen Vaidarabi, desirous of getting a son, worshipped Shankara, the lord of the Bhutas, who became pleased and granted her request, and Vaidarabi became pregnant. After 100 years of pregnancy, she gave birth to one big piece of flesh. Seeing this, the queen became very afflicted, and taking refuge of Mahadeva, began to cry loudly and very often. Bhagwan Shankara then appeared there in Brahman form and cut the mass of flesh into 1,000 pieces. Those 1,000 pieces turned out into 1,000 very powerful suns. Their bodies looked more brilliant than the midday sun. But they were all burnt to ashes by the curse of Kapila Muni, and the king began to lament bitterly, and he entered into the forest. His son Asmanja practiced tapasya to bring the Ganga for 1 lakh year when he quitted his body in course of time. His son Asuman practiced tapasya for 1 lakh year to bring Ganga onto Bharata, and he too died. Then the son of Asuman, the intelligent Bhagavatam, a great devotee of Vishnu, free of old age and death, and the store of many qualifications, practiced tapasya for 1 lakh year to bring Ganga to earth. At last he saw Purusha, brilliant like the million of suns. He had 2 hands, there was a flute in his hands, and he had full of youth in the dress of a cowherder. At the sight of this Gopala Sundari form, wearing a Shakti dress, makes one think he is ever ready to show grace to his devotees. He is not concerned with anything, yet he is the witness of all. He is beyond the 3 gunas, higher than Prakriti. A sweet smile is always on his face, which makes him even more lovely. There is none equal to him showing grace to his bhaktas. His whole body was filled with ecstasy. Then he clearly told the king's body was filled with ecstasy. Then he clearly told what he wanted for his deliverance of his family. The Bhagavan then addressed Ganga and said, O Ganga, go quickly and appear in Bharata under the curse of Bharati. By my command, go quickly and purify the sons of Sagara. They will be purified by the touch of the air in contact with the Ganges, and rise up in divine aerial cars, assuming forms like mine, and they will come to my abode. They will there remain always as my attendants, and they will not be involved in the sins that they committed in their previous births. O Narada, it is stated thus in the Vedas that if the human souls take their baths in Bharata, commit sins for millions and millions of births, the sins will be completely destroyed if they touch once the air in contact with and carrying the particles of the Ganges. The sight of the Ganges and the touch of the Ganges water give religious merits 10 times more. People become freed of their sins when then and there, especially if they bathe in the Ganges. It is heard in the Shrutis that the bathing in the Ganges is done according to rules, destroys all sins, the murder of Brahmins, etc., acquired in 1,000 millions of births done consciously or unconsciously. The merits that are acquired by the bathing in the Ganges on a day of religious merit cannot be described even in the Vedas. Whatever is mentioned in the Agamas is but a mere trifle. Even Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva cannot describe fully the merits of bathing in the Ganges, such as the glory of ordinary bathing. Now I will describe the effect of the Ganges bath done with a sankalpa, a resolve. Here, 10 times more the results is attained when the Ganges bathing is done with a resolve sankalpa than an ordinary bath. When the sun passes from one sign to another, 30 times more. In the new moon day, the Ganges bath gives the merits as above mentioned, but when the sun is in the southern course, double the merits are obtained, and when the sun is in the northern course, 10 times more religious merits are gained. Great religious merits accrue from the Ganges bath on Manvantara Tiv, Yugadya, and other various special days. Again, double the merits of those of the above arise from bathing in the Ganges during the Nanda ceremony. The Ganges bath in the solar eclipse yields 10 times more religious merit than the lunar eclipse. Again, the Snanam yields 100 times more religious merits than that of the solar eclipse. The saying to Ganga before Bhagavatam, the Lord of the Devas remained silent. The Devi Ganga, with her head bowed down with devotion, said, "If I am after all to go to Bharata as thou commandest, and under the curse given previously by Bharati, then tell me how I would be freed of the sins that the sinners will cast on me. How long will I have to remain there? When, O Lord, shall I be able to return to the highest place of Vishnu? O thou, the inner self of all, O all-knowing, whatever else I desire, thou knowest them plain all. So be pleased to instruct me in all these points." The Bhagavan said, "O Ganga, I know all that you desire. When you will assume the liquid form, the salt ocean will be your husband. He is my part, and you are of the nature of Lakshmi. So the union of the lover with the love-stricken in the world will turn out a happy and qualified one. Of all the rivers, Saraswati and others in Bharata that go to mix in the ocean, you will be the best and highly fortunate of them all. From today, you will have to remain in Bharata for a period of 5,000 years under this curse of Bharati. You will be able to enjoy daily and always the pleasures with the ocean, O Devi. As you are a clever lady, so he is absolutely apt and expert. The inhabitants of Bharata will praise thee and worship thee with great devotion with the stertor which Bhagavatam has composed. He will derive the fruit of 100 sacrifices who will meditate on thee as per Kanda Saka and worship, praise, and bow down to thee daily. Even if one utter Ganga, though one is 100 yojanas away from the Ganges, one will be freed of all sins and go to Vishnu Loka. Whatever sins will be cast in thee by 1,000 sinners bathing in thee will be destroyed by the touch of the devotees of Prakriti Devi. Even if thousands and thousands of sinners touch thee and bathe in thee, all those will be destroyed when the Devi Bhaktas, the worshippers of Bhuvaneshwari and Mahamaya, will come and touch thee. O auspicious one, thou wilt wash away the sins of the sinners by thy stay in Bharata with other best rivers, Saraswati and the others. That will be at once a sacred place of pilgrimage where thy glories will be chanted. By the touch of the dust of thine, the sinners will at once be purified, and he will dwell in the Devi Loka for as many years as will be the dust there. All hail to the Devi Bhuvaneshwari, he who will leave his body on thy lap with full consciousness of remembering my name will certainly go to my abode and will remain as my chief attendant for an infinite period. He will see countless prakritis, pralayas, dissolution of universes. Unless a man has collected hordes of religious merits, he cannot die in the Ganges, and if he dies on the Ganges, he goes to Vaikuntha as long as the sun rises in the world. I get many bodies for him where he can enjoy the fruits of Kama and then give him my form resembling mine and make him my attendant. If any ignorant man void of janam quits his body by touching merely the water, I give him Satya Lokha, place in my region, and make him my attendant. Even if one quits one's body in a far place, uttering thy name, I give him a place in my region for one lifetime of Brahma. And if he remembers thee with devotion and quits his mortal coil at another place, I give him vision of my form for a period of endless prakriti. He instantly gets an aerial car made of jewels and goes with my attendants to the realm of Golika and gets formed like me. They pass their days eating the remnants of food offered to me, and they need not have any distinction whether they die in Tirtha or not. They themselves can easily purify the three worlds. Getting on the excellent and best aerial car built of jewels, they go to the region of Golika. O chaste one, even if the friends of my devotees be born in animal birth, they also will be purified by the devotion shown towards me, and getting on a jeweled aerial car will be able to come here as well. Wherever the bhaktas may be, if they simply remember the divine with devotion, they will become liberated while living by the power of my bhakti. Thus saying to Ganga, Bhagavan addressed Bhagaratha, O child, now worship Ganga Devi with devotion and chant hymns to her. The pure Bhagirath meditated with devotion and worshipped the Devi and praised her repeatedly. Then Ganga and Bhagirath bowed down and he disappeared at once from their sight. Narada said, O thou, the foremost of the knower of the Vedas, how did the noble king Bhagirath meditate on the Devi Ganga? What stotra did he recite, and what was the method with which he worshipped the Ganges? Nayana said, O Narada, one should first take one's bath and put on clean, washed clothing, should perform one's daily duties. Then one should control oneself and with devotion worship the 6 devatas, Ganesh, Sun, Fire, Vishnu, Shiva, and Shiva. Thus one becomes entitled to worship. First worship to be given is to Ganesh for the destruction of obstacles. The sun is to be next worship for health. Fire for purification. Vishnu is then worship for getting wealth and power. Shiva is worship for knowledge, and Shivani is worship for Muni. When those devatas are worshipped, one is entitled to worship the deity. Otherwise, contrary become the effects. Now I'm saying what meditation did Bhagirathi practice towards the Devi Ganga. Here ends the 11th chapter of the 9th book on the origin of the Ganges in the Mahapuranam, Srimad Devi Bhagavatam of 18,000 verses by Maharishi Veda Vyasa. Jai Mahamaya Ki Jai, Haryakandashvari Mata Ki Jai, Bole Baba Ki Jai.